Okay, so starting off January 2019, for those of you who are Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and for those who don't know, I do pull 12 cards based on the 12 houses, as well as an extra card for confirmation. So this is sort of geared towards your rising sign. However, I always say to people to just check and see what resonates with you most. If it's your sun, your moon, or your rising, it's different for different people. So it's always good to sort of check for that confirmation. I also do sort of put the intention in the card to go in order according to the month of January. So we always start with the beginning of January and sort of go to the end. And if you are confused about what your moon sign or your rising sign is, then please contact me. I can help you with that. Your sun sign is simply what you would say is your sign. For example, if someone said that their sign is Gemini, that would mean that their sun is in Gemini. But if you're confused about your moon sign or your rising sign, you can always contact me and I will help you figure that out. So, and if you are an Aries, a Taurus, a Gemini, a Cancer, a Leo, a Virgo, a Libra, a Scorpio, a Sagittarius, a Capricorn, or an Aquarius, and you haven't seen your horoscope video yet, then I will go ahead and leave the links for those videos down in the description. You can also go to my channel and you will see the videos posted. But this is the last horoscope video for January, and this is for Pisces. So if you are not a Pisces sun, moon, or rising and you're looking for your horoscope video, then you can go ahead and look in the description area, or you can go ahead to my channel and you will see the newest posts that are there. Also, if you are looking for a tarot card reading, or if you are looking for a birth chart interpretation, or even a transit to see kind of where you're at during this time period, then please contact me. I will also be doing New Year's specials coming up soon. So please contact me to book a New Year's interpretation. And for those who don't know, for astrology, the new year starts when Aries starts, as it's the first sign of the zodiac. So I will be doing this New Year's interpretation for April of 2018 to April of 2019. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can leave a comment down below. But to start off this month of January, for those of you who are Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is starting off the year with giving. And for those of you who are Pisces Rising, this is in your first house, or on the cusp of your first house, as this is your ascendant or rising sign. And this house deals with self. This is sort of how you see the world around you and how you see yourself. Therefore, this is going to be this image of who you are that you're going to project to the world. And a lot of times, I'm trying to help people to get away from this image of themselves that deals with their rising sign and sort of move more towards their sun sign. The rising sign is sort of a outward persona of who you are, this outward projection, this mask that we wear as we're sort of exposed to different environments. This is how we adapt. And it's sort of, if you think about your parents, right? The way that your parents behave sort of has an effect or an impression on how you would behave because it's what's familiar. And that's sort of the same thing as what the rising sign is. It's sort of you showing who you are based on what you're experiencing around you. So it's you mirroring what you're seeing around you. Now, your sun sign goes much deeper than that. Your sun sign is who you are on a soul level. So, in a sense, your sun sign is like your true self, where your rising sign is sort of like this ego or this mask or this impression of who you are. So I try to direct people away from this rising sign and more towards their sun sign or even their moon sign, if that is something that you feel more resonant with, is your moon sign, which the moon sign is that third piece of who you are. So your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign are these three pieces that sort of make up who you are. So your rising sign based on what you see around you, that's what you're mirroring. Your sun sign, who you are on a soul level, and your moon sign is this emotional, intuitive side of who you are. So instead of the moon sign acting on thought, it acts on feeling. So it's sort of this instinct, intuitive based part of who you are. And looking at this card, this is dealing with you, sort of getting away from this sort of internalized person. And Pisces is a very internal sign. If you look at the signs, especially if you look at the mutable signs, because this is a mutable sign, Pisces. Mutable meaning changing, adapting, easily movable is a mutable sign, which is Pisces. And if you look at the four mutable signs, we have mutable air and mutable earth, which are both Mercury ruled. This is Gemini and Virgo. And then we have mutable fire and mutable water, which are both Jupiter ruled. And this would be Sagittarius and Pisces. Now, if you look at these signs, there's a reason why they all go together and why we have these polar oppositions occurring between these signs, is because Gemini and Virgo, being a Mercury ruled sign, they are sort of focused on the knowledge, on the details. It's sort of this man-made way of thinking and processing, right? It comes from the mind, this way that Gemini and Virgo think and process things. And Gemini, being air, deals with the exchange of intelligence and knowledge. So it deals primarily with communication. Virgo is a little bit different. Virgo actually takes that knowledge and makes it into something practical. So typically Virgo deals with organization, and service and health, simply working and doing things in a certain way or certain strategy. Because this sense of logical thinking, dealing with organization and certain ways of doing things, certain ways of organizing things, certain ways of putting things into details. And Sag and Pisces is the opposite of that. Sag and Pisces sort of deals with this unknown sense of knowing, this deeper level of knowing things. And this knowing is typically on a spiritual level. It is this connection to a higher power. Now, Sagittarius and Pisces sort of do this on a different level, though, where Sagittarius sort of seeks things outside of themselves. Pisces is a sign that is more internal, goes within to seek out this spiritual knowledge, this spiritual sense of knowing. So for Sag, it's really about going on this quest, going on this journey, sort of seeking out something higher, greater, this sense of higher consciousness and awareness. And with Pisces, it's more of intuition. It's more of going inside of yourself, sort of to this comfort zone where you're knowing things, you're feeling things, you have this clarity within yourself, but it's on a different level of consciousness. It's sort of on a subconscious level, this hidden power inside of you, this hidden part of who you are, this intuitive side of you. And so when I think of Sagittarius, I think more of sort of a preacher, like going out and seeking the word of God and preaching the word of God. Where with Pisces, I typically think of a psychic, right? Going within, using that intuition to connect with that higher power. So Pisces is a very internalized sign. It is on a deeper level of consciousness and awareness. It's almost on a different plane, right? It's not on this physical plane. It's sort of in this dream state, in this imaginative state. It's sort of this idea of shifting your awareness, shifting your consciousness. And so a lot of times when we're dealing with Pisces, we're talking about a sign that, and this could be different depending on what's in your chart, but if you look at the sign individually, we're talking about someone who really isn't going to be very outgoing or social, because the focus, the awareness is within, right? It's about connecting to this feeling, this intuition, this sense of knowing that is on a deeper level. And this is kind of getting you away from that, especially if we're talking about this whole transition that we've actually started and that will take us into 2019, is sort of this idea of North Node in Cancer giving us the tools to free ourselves from these old systems, these old ways of believing, these old thoughts, these old feelings. That's the idea of South Node in Capricorn, moving away from, because Capricorn is about building, it's about systems, it's about rules, restrictions. So it's moving away from this sense of these old ways of doing things and moving us into a new way of doing things. And this sort of makes me think of the government versus the people, right? Because Capricorn is dealing with systems, rules, restrictions. And Cancer, North Node in Cancer, is sort of pulling us to this point where it wants us to get away from this connection to systems, to rules, restrictions, and sort of get to this place where we're connecting with others around us. Sort of get us to this place where we are more intuitive, where we are more caring, where we are more compassionate, where we are trusting in one another, where we are caring and nurturing for one another. This sort of sense of connecting to this feminine side of ourselves where there is love and unity. Sort of this gentle and compassionate nature that we're being pulled towards in this year of 2019. And this card sort of goes along with that because this talks about sort of getting away from this idea of, no, I'm good, I got it, and sort of internalizing things to getting to this place of giving and getting to this place of expressing that heart-to-heart connection. And it's dealing with you, yourself. This is in your first house. So this is talking about sort of changing. And I know that Pisces is a very compassionate sign, but this is sort of changing to getting away from internalizing things and sort of going within to sort of bringing that energy outside of yourself. The giving, the charity, the compassion. And that doesn't mean to get away from that intuitive nature, because I know Pisces is very intuitive, a very psychic sign. So it doesn't mean to get away from that. It means to sort of find balance between the two. Because you can be outwardly, you can be giving, you can be extroverted, you can be giving things outside of yourself and still be on this sort of intuitive awakened level of awareness that Pisces has. So it's sort of bringing in this level of balance. And if you look at the signs, Virgo is the opposite to Pisces. There's a lot that you Pisces can learn from the sign Virgo. Right? Because Virgo is actually on this physical world, doing practical things, connecting to others on this physical level. That Pisces is sort of the opposite, connecting to people on this more spiritual, intuitive sort of level of awareness. So there's a lot that you can learn from Virgo as you're sort of doing this work within yourself, dealing with who you are and this sense of identity and sort of trying to find this balance. And next, you have the Empress, which again is sort of talking about coming into this place of love and compassion and sort of drawing that energy outside of yourself. A lot of Pisces energy gets internalized, and this is sort of getting in this place of giving. Yes, receiving, also giving. This sense of unity, of connection. It's sort of calling you, Pisces, to get on this physical level of awareness. And as the sign Pisces goes, it has mastered this sort of spiritual, intuitive, awakened side of reality. But part of this is sort of balancing the two, coming into this physical reality as well. And for those of you who are a Pisces rising, this would be in your second house or on the cusp of your second house. And the second house is a Taurus ruled house. It deals with all things physical, which is very appropriate with the theme of this, coming into this physical level of awareness, connecting to people on this physical level. But it is a very physical, materialistic placement as it is ruled by Taurus. So it deals with sort of the things that we love on a physical level. It deals with finances. It deals with having grounding and a foundation. It deals with sort of building something solid for yourself. It deals with creature comforts. It deals with comfort and safety and security. So it's sort of getting into this physical one-on-one connection with others, sort of getting away from this feeling, this intuitive, emotional side of you. Which I'm not saying to get rid of that side of you. That side of you is probably years ahead of most of the signs in the zodiac. It's a very wise and awakened, aware sign on a very spiritual, emotional, psychic sort of level. So it's sort of finding that balance between the two. And next we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. And a lot of this, and when cards are in reverse, it's typically a challenging aspect. It's typically a place to learn and to grow from. So with Page of Pentacles, it's sort of like you're being nurtured, you're being cared for on this level that you sort of don't really understand. And it's asking you not to fight it, to just kind of go with it and accept the abundance and the nurturing and caring that's coming into your life. And this is big with that North Node in Cancer. And with this, if you are a Pisces rising, this is in your third house, which is a Gemini ruled house. It deals with communication and connections and networking and business and knowledge and lower levels of learning and movement, domestic travel. And here, there is this level where we're still sort of talking about connecting to people on this physical level that maybe you're not really used to or feel as comfortable with. Because Pisces is a sign that is really based